What's up, Universal Park addicts? Welcome to the channel. I know it's a rainy day here, windy day. We know what's happening in Florida right now with the hurricane. So we're going to take the day, since it's a day we can't really do a whole lot, we're going to make a video. We're going to rank every ride at Universal Orlando, both parks. We're going to throw them in a tournament bracket, and we're going to find out which one is the best.
So basically, this is going to be a ride battle royale where we go through. We're going to take this chart that you see on the screen. We're going to name the ride. We're going to go through, and we're going to rate 3 areas of that ride. So this is going to have theme, thrill, and the wait time versus experience. When you get off the ride, are you saying that wait time was worth it, or let's not go there again? So that's what we're going to be kind of going through. We'll get a total for each ride from both of our scores. We'll put them in a chart, and that'll give us our seed for each ride. And then we're going to take those based on their seedings, put them into a 30 ride tournament, and then we'll go through at that point. Once we get to each ride, we're going to compare them and basically choose which one we think in each category is the best, and the winner moves on till we get our final champion of Universal Orlando.
So what we're going to do is we're going to start with Universal Studios. We're going to start from the Minion Mayhem ride, or the Despicable Me ride, and then we're going to go all the way around, rate those, and then we'll work on the Universal Islands of Adventure. But now when it goes to seeding, we're not putting them in 2 different brackets. We're going to put them in the same bracket. So Simpsons could be the #1 seed, and they could be going up against their first round. They could be going up against something in the Islands of Adventure part.
Okay, so we're going to start with Despicable Me. So on the screen there, you'll be able to follow us along here. We're just going to abbreviate. So we're going to start, as you can see the name on there is Billy, so my dad's going to go first with his ratings, 1 through 10 on the theming, thrill, and wait time versus experience. So Dad?
Theming, I'm going with a 2. I'm not real. It's not a great themed ride. I mean, you go into one little area and you watch a video and that's it. So that to me is not a great.
Okay, and then we move on to thrill.
I'm going with a 2.
Okay. And wait time versus experience.
It's going to be a 1.
Okay.
It's usually a long wait time unless you got express, and we're not going on express. So we're going on if you have to wait.
That is true.
Without
usually
express.
There's a crowd.
Yes, I mean, and it could be anywhere between, most of the time, 45 to 90 minutes or more.
All right. So for me, we already know the ride, so let's skip to the theme. Theming, I'll go with 3 just because my kids like the Minions. Thrill, I'll give it probably a 2. And wait time for experience, I'm going to go with 1 as well because it's a terrible wait for that. And so our totals, 6 and 5. So the first ride, Despicable Me, is going to be at an 11.
Total of 11. Yeah, not the greatest ride.
Not a great ride.
All right, the next ride we're going to do is going to be the Minion Blast, the VillainCon Minion Blast.
Theming.
I've only been through this ride once, so I'm going to probably give it about a 3.
Okay. 3.
It is. I mean, it is pretty fun going through there, shooting at the screen. So I'm going to give it a 4.
All right, and wait time versus experience.
Probably about a 3.
Okay. All right, and for me, on Minion Blast, I'm going to stay for theming just because once you finally get inside the actual area, it's pretty good, so I'll give it a 5. Thrill, for a kid, it's awesome.
Yeah.
But
that's definitely a kid.
For me, so I'm going to say, just kind of with me having kids plus me, we'll go with a 4. And then wait time versus experience. The wait's not terrible, but the way the line works, and plus you get to see some stuff. So I'll give it a little bit of a benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna give it a 3. So right, not much, but so right there we're gonna go.
And you got to realize too, the last 2 rides were actually kids' rides. So
right, they're kid rides. So
for kids, these rankings might go higher because
So we got 10 and 12. So that one's going to get
a 22.
22. So a little more than the actual Mayhem ride.
All right, next ride in the line would be Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. Now, I'm going to let Logan go first because I got some things I want to say about this ride.
Okay. So theming, I take in every bit of it. I don't like the queue line. It's not that great. There's a few screens you get a little something, but it's really kind of boring. So I'm going to go 2. I just think it's bland. Thrill, It used to be really good, but I haven't rode it a lot lately. But I'm gonna take away some of I know that it's got old music, so I'm gonna take away that factor from it. Thrill, I'm gonna give it like a 6 because it still is a roller coaster.
It is still a good ride,
yeah, and it's got a cool drop.
It has gotten a little rougher though, but yeah.
Wait time versus experience. I haven't rode it in a long time because we usually skip it at this point. We've rode it so many times, but based on my previous experience, the wait can be kind of long, and then versus what you actually get anymore. So I'm gonna go with a 5. So that's my total on the ride, pretty low for that one, but and I know a lot of people actually like it. I will say, in that side of the park, it's probably one of the better rides, but it's just, if you want the thrill, you're going to, of course, go to Islands of Adventure.
So it makes it a 13 for Logan.
So 13 for me. All right, Dad, so you're up.
Now, I'm going to, theming-wise, it's not really a great theme. I mean, you walk through a line, you sit there, they play some music.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it like about where it's at, about a 3.
Okay.
Thrill ride. Now it is. I'm just going to tell you right now. It's gotten a little rougher than what it used to be. I'm going to say Thrill's probably about a 6.
Okay. So about the
now
same on mine.
weight versus experience. We normally do express passes, so we haven't waited in line for a long time. It used to be a long wait. Now, it also used to be a really good ride.
True.
Because it had a ton of songs that you could listen to. Now, they have dropped that to a 5.
As you can tell, we kind of lost electricity, and this happened. So we got all the way to Rip Ride Rocket, and we kind of lost where we were at. So what we're going to do, kind of do a speed run of Rip Ride, give our ratings for that ride, and then we'll move on. So just kind of going back, as on the screen you can see, these were my scores for Rip Ride. So theming, I just think that there's not much to it really other than the ride itself. I know there's some lighting, and the music is kind of outdated at this point. So I gave it a 2. Thrill, it is still a decent ride. In that side of the park, it's probably one of the better rides. So I would give it a 6 on Thrill. And then wait time versus experience, I would give it a 5 because the lines are kind of longer. And the experience, I mean, other than the ride itself, isn't amazing. So giving it some slack since the ride is good, I'm going to give it a 5. So that gave me a total of 13 for Rip Ride. So now on to my dad's scores. He had already rated theme and thrill, so I'll let him go through that, and then he'll be on wait time and experience.
Okay, well, first off, the wait time wise, it could be anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour, depending on what time of day, what time of year. If it's over an hour, it's not worth it. I don't think so. They have taken the music from. They had a ton of music that you could use on the ride, and they've dropped it down to 5 songs. For me, that makes the experience a lot less than what it should be. So I give it a 3. My total's a 10. If the wait's a 60-minute or more, like I said, pass it on by. If it gets down to 30, 40 minutes, it's worth the ride. It's still, the ride is still pretty fun. So
your rating would actually be 12.
Oh, I'm sorry, my rating's a 12. He didn't change the.
We ain't got to the total. But so 12 and 13. So that's gonna give that a 25 for Rip Ride.
All right, our next ride is one that I just cannot stand. I think it should have never been put in the park to begin with. They should bring back the old attraction, which was Twister, and that's the Race Through New York, starring Jimmy Fallon. It's a 3D ride. The Twister, we love the Twister.
Twister was definitely way better in that area.
So the theming wise, I'm going to give the theming a 6. Because if you catch it when they have the singers out, it's pretty cool actually. The thrill, to me, it's more like a 2. It's first off, if you get motion sickness quite a bit, it will give you motion sickness, and it's just not that fun. I'll be honest with you. Some people love it, some people don't. Wait time versus experience, I'm gonna give it about a 4 or 5. It's still, some people might like the screen rides. I think Universal's done way too many at the screens with the screens, and it's just sort of taking over the park. But again, this is one that if they got rid of this ride, it would not bother me.
Absolutely. All right, so that totals for him is 12. Down here for me, so going with theming. I agree. I think the theming is great. I used to be a really big fan of Jimmy Fallon's Tonight Show. So I think that the theming is great. I'm gonna go with a 7, just because the walkthrough is awesome. You get that little area, like he said, if they come out and perform, it's pretty cool. And then just the ride itself is pretty cool theme. It's just the thrill is not there. So for me, on thrill, honestly, we've skipped over it so many times due to it just not being great. I don't
go
even,
right past it.
I don't even know what I would give it. I'm gonna just give it a 1, just because I really just don't think it's worth keeping in the parks. I think that you could find something way better to introduce.
Best part of the ride is the theme. I mean,
Absolutely.
The
Maybe you could bring back Twister and update it or something. Who knows? But wait time and experience. I think the wait time's not bad, and the experience.
It's because nobody rides it.
Yeah, and the experience of the wait isn't terrible, because you get to see a lot of stuff. There's some photo opportunities, but the experience of the actual ride is not great. So I'm gonna give it a 3. So that is gonna be mine there. All right. So for that ride, we got a 12 and an 11. So that Jimmy Fallon gets a 23.
All right, now this might be probably one of our favorite rides in the park. Period. We've rode it. I mean, we ride this ride probably 10 to 20 times every time we go to the Universal, and that is Revenge of the Mummy. And it's a indoor roller coaster. It's really fun. Especially if you get on it with some newbies that have never rode it.
Oh, yeah.
So, but there's some spots in it that sort of freak them out a little bit. But I will let Logan go ahead and do his.
All right, me theming first. All right, so on theming, I mean, in this side of the park, in both parks, this is probably one of the best themings you can get. I mean, they did a really good job all around. The queue line is awesome. You have a lot of good things to look at. It's dark, it's gloomy, so great there. The ride itself, really cool theming. So I'm going to give it a 9 on theming, because I think that's awesome. Thrill, even with the update, it's gotten even better. A little bit better graphics and stuff, so even better. I think that going for an indoor roller coaster, I don't think you can get much better than that. I really don't think you can get much better than that. So I'm going to go with a 10 in my opinion, because I think an indoor roller coaster, that's off the charts. Awesome. Wait time versus experience. I'm going to say if you're waiting in the actual queue line, it is quite longer. So I'm going to have to knock off a few points, because if you're in the actual line, it is a little long. But the experience is awesome, so I can't knock it down too far. I'm going to give it a 7. But I think that overall, to me, that ride is probably one of our favorites of all time. So that's going to be mine there. And then, Dad, I'll let you go. So we got 26 for me. Highest score so far.
So theming, I'm gonna go with Logan. I'm gonna say that's a 9, because either way you go, even if you go express, they have some things that you can see. They have the big statue of Anubis. They have the little interactive things on the other side. I think it's pretty cool. Thrill, I'm gonna say it's a 9. I mean, I love that ride. It's got some cool little spots in it. Like I said, don't want to give any things away in case you're new and you're going. And then wait time versus experience. I mean, if you're going express, I mean, usually wait time's a walk on. If you go during regular, there's been times that I think this past July that we went and it was like 75 minutes. So it's probably going to take a little bit. But I still think it's an 8.
Okay. We both gave it 26. All right, so with the highest score so far, Mummy gets a 52. So now we're going to go into the next ride.
The next ride is Transformers 3D. It's a motion simulator. Again, that's another screen ride. It's pretty much got the same cart, and it's almost the same as Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's kind of duplicated.
But it's a really cool ride. It's got some really nice spots in it there. But I'll let Logan go ahead and do his.
Okay. Theming for Transformers. This one's awesome too. You have the stilted characters outside. You get to go meet, so that to me adds a little bit to the ride itself. The theming of the walkthrough is pretty cool. They got some stuff that you can kind of play around with, screens to watch. So I'll give it an 8 on theming. I think that's pretty good. Thrill, to me, the ride on carts aren't as great as the roller coasters. I'm just a bigger roller coaster fan. But there's still a lot of thrill in this one. The Transformer scenes are awesome. So I'm going to still give it an 8. Just kind of like the... you feel like you're in the battle itself. And then the wait time versus experience. The wait time can be quite long, and the experience is decent. So I'm going to leave that at a 7 for me. So 23 for me for Transformers. And Dad, you're up.
Okay, the guys, the steel characters, Bumblebee, Megatron, Optimus Prime, yeah, that's pretty cool. Although it's still not part of the ride, it is more of a meet and greet, so I'm not going to count that. Theming wise, the walk-in is, I mean, it does have some screens that have Transformers talking to you and people, but I'm going to get it a 6.
Okay.
I think it could have been a lot better than what it was. The thrill, I mean, once you get on the car, it's nonstop, pretty much nonstop action. So I'm going to give it an 8. And then the wait time versus experience, I'm probably give it an 8. I'm going to leave it at an 8.
24.
Yep.
Not a fan of MacBooks.
It's just they're doing way too many screen rides. I mean, I love Universal, but they overdo it.
All right, so Transformers gets a total of 43.
All right, so we're going to...
47.
Of course, Transformers is in the middle of the park, so we're going to skip over a little bit to the Springfield area. And then the next ride is going to be the Simpsons ride, another motion simulator. Like I said, way too many. It used to be Back to the Future, which, again, we loved.
Oh, yeah.
So
they should definitely
if they would bring it back over the Simpsons, which we've heard, there's rumors that in a few years that's going to be a different place altogether. So, all right, Logan, what's your...
Let me preface that as saying we do have a video already up if you want to go check that out about rides that we think that they should bring back and rides that they should get rid of. So the Simpsons and Jimmy Fallon are definitely on the list of going away, and Back to the Future and Twister are 2 that we think they should bring back. So now on to Simpsons. The theming, I mean, are we counting the whole area or are we just counting the ride itself?
It's just a ride.
Okay.
I mean, we're not. If we're going to do sections of parks, we'll have to do that another day.
Right. So theming, then, I don't think it's that great. I mean, the walkthrough, there's not really much till you get to the waiting area, and the waiting area, it just repeats itself in a loop, so you get a little bored of it. So I'm gonna go with a 4 on theming, and I only give it a 4 because the actual ride itself is pretty cool when it comes down to like being Simpsons theme. If you're into the Simpsons, then you probably would like this ride. A decent amount. It still could have been better. Could have made it something else. And then a thrill. I mean, the first time is probably pretty cool. But then after you do it a few times, I'm going to give it a 4 as well. I just don't think it's that great. And then wait time versus experience. Wait time, it can actually be pretty long. And the experience, like I said, not the greatest. So I'm also going to give that a 4 also. So 4 across the board for me.
Of course, you put it in mine.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to flip on this one. So, for let's see. I'll just go and change it. 4. 4. And then 12.
It's all right because mine are going to go lower than 4.
Okay.
Theme-wise, I think it's more like a 1.
Okay.
I did.
Not
I used to.
fan, huh?
No, I used to like The Simpsons, but the walk up, it's just a concrete floor and the concrete rails with a couple of TVs in there that you watch some stuff. I mean, when you get into the actual line, there's a few little things, but it's not the greatest. It's definitely not the Mummy or some of these others. Thrill, I'm going to say 3. Again, this is another ride that if you get motion sickness, you better take you some Dramamine. Because it will make you sick. Plus, there's no real airflow through there, so it makes it even worse. Wait time versus experience, I'll leave it at a 4.
Okay.
I think the wait times have went down a little bit since, it first opened and all that. But I definitely think this is a ride that once you rode it 2 or 3 times, it's just, you pass it on by. Which makes it worse because, you're paying all this money to go to Universal. And we've already got 2 rides that we, in that same park that we don't even, ride anymore.
All right, so the total for Simpsons is going to come out to 20. So Simpsons gets a 20. We're going to move on.
Okay, now we're going to, this is a kiddie ride, so for adults it might be a little lower, but it's Kang and Kudos Twirl and Hurl. It's a spinning ride, sort of like a carousel, but it goes up and down. Yeah. Do you get wet in that ride?
No.
Okay, no water or nothing. But for kids, our grandkids love it. I mean,
And it's a little faster than most
Yeah.
like kiddie rides at Universal. So.
but yeah, that's it. So, you
All
wanna
right.
rate yours?
So theming. I mean, there's not much to it.
No, there's no
like
theming.
no real queue line.
No,
So
it's pretty much
just,
a walk on.
Yeah, it's just a walk on ride basically to an alien that spins. So I'm gonna give it a 2. For a kid, pretty cool, I guess. Thrill. I'm gonna go based off of being slightly kiddish. Thrill for like for me as a parent, seeing their faces. It is one of the rides that's like a good in between ride of being too much but not too bad. So I'm gonna give it a let's go 3. Just because for me myself, I wouldn't prefer it, but it's decent enough for kids. And then wait time versus experience. Well, there's not really a wait time, so that's good. But for experience, it's not great. So I'm gonna give it a 5 just because it's a pretty good mix. If you want to keep riding it multiple times, you
Yeah.
can. So
a 10.
all right, so a 10 for me, and then King Kodos for Dad.
For theming, a 1, of
Okay.
course, because there's no theming.
Nothing.
For thrill, it's a 2. I'm going to give you adult. I'm not going to do
Okay.
because I don't. I mean, I do got the grandkids that ride it, but I'm giving you adult. And for wait time versus experience, a 2.
All right, easy one there. We get a 5 and a 10, so a 15 for King and Kodos.
All right, so we're skipping around the park a little bit now. So the next one is Men in Black Alien Attack. It's a cool little ride that you get in. It seats, I think, 6 people. 6 people.
Yeah.
And you have little laser guns that you try to shoot aliens and get the high score. If you're competitive, I mean, it's a great ride.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, but I'll go ahead and do this
Yeah,
one.
go ahead for theme.
The one cool thing about this ride is you can ask a team member to do a little,
Like a VIP tour.
yeah, like a tour, and they'll, if they have time, they'll do it for you. So I'm going to count that as a theme. Now, it doesn't have a ton of stuff. It does have this big area that has like the aliens that
Like
are
in a
working
movie.
the board. So I'm gonna give it a 6. Thrill, I mean, it is fun. Like I said, it's more of a game than it is a ride. So I'm gonna give it a 6. And wait time versus experience. Usually the wait time is not much. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be about a 7.
Good call on the number there. Okay, so Dad gives it a 19. I'm going to go on theming. I agree. I don't think there's much to it. I think the stuff that's there is really cool, but I don't think it's that great. So I'm going to go with a 5 on theming. And the ride itself could have been better made for theming. Thrill, I'm going to go probably a 7 just because we had a lot of fun with it, especially if it's the first time or, second time at the park. It's a lot of fun. You can compete, or if you can take people with you that have never been, it's pretty cool. Wait time, it's not usually ever that bad anymore. When we first started going, it was kind of bad, but we're going right now, and it's not that bad. Experience, pretty cool. So I'm going to give it a 6. So that's mine. So my total is 18. His is 19. So it gives
And it is now when I count for theming, I don't count for in ride theming. The in ride theming is pretty cool actually. I count more of the queue line. That's what because when you're in a queue line and you got some cool stuff to look at,
Right.
an hour wait doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah, because me theming of like just the ride itself.
Yeah, that's part of the
Yeah.
ride. That's the
but if
thrill
we're-
and the experience.
Exactly,
So,
and if we're going to be taking into account wait time versus experience, I think the theming has to go all the way back. So, all right, so 37 for Men in Black. Okay.
all right, the next ride we're going to backtrack some more. We're going to go to E.T. Adventure. This is a ride where it's sort of a friendly ride. It's I think it's one of the last original rides in the park. You use some bikes to try to help get E.T. back home. And once you're back home, once he's back home, there's some cool things that happen inside there, and then they give you a card with your name on it, and if the ride's working properly, it'll say your name at the end. So it has, but it's one of those that you got. I mean, it doesn't matter how many times we went. Yes, it's not the greatest ride, but we still do it. It's just the nostalgia of the ride.
My kids love it. So.
Yes, and we actually me and the kids do the ET phone home finger thing, and so
You want me to go first?
Yeah, I'll let you go first.
All right. So for me on theming, I think it's pretty great. The walkthrough could be a little better on the outside. There's not much, but once you get inside, get to watch a little screen, kind of previews the ride, and then once you get to the actual queue line inside,
It's like a forest.
yeah, you're in a forest. You see some astronauts. You see ET. So on mine, I'm gonna give it a 7, just because my kids love space and that kind of stuff, and then also the theme of the ride. I mean, it's really cool. Especially if you've never been, you got to go. I'm a big fan of like the animatronics more so than screens, and this has a lot of animatronics. So to me, that bumps it up a lot. Makes you feel like you're really there. And then for thrill, like I said, we haven't missed it very many times.
I don't know
So
if we ever missed
I don't think we've ever, except for when it was shut down. So
Yes.
let's go with a 8 on that, because I think it's awesome. We love it. It's a lot of fun, and we can do it probably 6 times and never get old. So wait time versus experience. Wait time's not usually that bad, even for the normal lines. It has had times where it's gotten kind of crazy, but never too bad. And then the experience is really cool. So I'm gonna give it we'll go a 6, just because the ride itself.
All right, theming wise, like I said, I'm counting only the walkthrough and the inside. I'm going to give it a 7, because I like, it's got the little thing that's, help ET. It's got the little, it's got the alien that comes up and explains what's going on. Thrill, really not a thrill. I mean, there's really no thrill to the ride. It's just like I said, it's nostalgia. I'm going to keep it at a 6 there.
Okay.
Wait time versus experience, I'm going to go with 8, because I think it's one of those things to where, I grew up with E.T. I mean, when it first came out, I actually seen the movie at the theater, and my kids have watched E.T. My grandkids have watched E.T. We love it, so that's what I'm gonna go with.
So that was that 21 and 21. All right, so we got 42 for ET. Okay, what's next?
All right, now there's one on our list here that we haven't put on here. It really just opened, and that's the roller coaster. It used to be Woody Woodpecker, so we're gonna go ahead and do that one real
Okay.
quick. Of course, it's a kiddie roller coaster. It's really a great roller coaster to start kids out on, because there's no. It's a little fast, but there's no big drops. There's no upside downs or anything like that. So,
All right. Okay, so if we're gonna start on theming, I think that area of the park's great
Yes.
themed, but the ride itself, it lacks in a lot of spots on theming. They could have done better.
yeah,
with
there's
Trolls.
really no theme.
So I'm gonna give it a 2. I don't think the theming is that great. It was a miss on the part of being themed better for Trolls. The thrill, like we said, it's a kid roller coaster, so we're going off of that. I mean, I'm gonna go with 3 just because my kids, growing up and riding it, and so it's thrilling to me to see their expressions. And then wait time versus experience. The wait time's not usually that bad. Experience is not great, so we're gonna go with a 3 on that as well. So that gives you my total of 8.
Now, I'm going to differ from Logan on a few things. Theme, I'm going to agree, probably about a 2. The thrill, it's not, like I said, it's not a thrill ride, but as much as, it's another ride that usually, if it's open, we ride it. Even when it's just,
That's true.
Me and my wife and my daughter have went before and we've got on it. So I'm going to give it, I'll leave it at a
6?
6, yeah.
Okay.
And then wait time versus experience, it's not, the wait time's not, horrible. The experience, there's really no experience. It's just a small little roller coaster. I'm going to give it a 6.
And honestly, the wait time's gotten a little worse because of the retheming.
Yeah, and
because when it was
opening.
Woody Woodpecker,
You just walk on. It's pretty much. And I think it'll get back to that. Yeah, I think it'll get back to a walk on eventually.
All right, so Trolls is 22. Okay, and now we're gonna move on.
All right, now we're going to do Harry Potter and Escape from Gringotts. This is actually a motion simulator screen ride with a roller coaster, which is 10 times better than the Transformer ride where it's just stationary. This, you're actually, doing the indoor roller coaster thing. And there's a lot of stuff to this ride, so it's pretty cool.
Yep. All right. So am I starting with theming?
Yes.
Okay. In my opinion, theming, you honestly can't get much better. On this side of the park, you can't get much better. I'm gonna give this a 10. I think it's great. You walk in, you're not bored in the entire walkthrough. Like, there's just so much to look at. at the beginning, and then once you get through there, you get on there, and then the ride itself, like, it's crazy good. Thrill, I mean, you get basically the best of all worlds. You get a roller coaster mixed with screen ride,
3D.
mixed with the 3D motion. Like, it's just fantastic. I'm gonna give it a 9. That's just where I'm putting it at. I think for an indoor roller coaster, same thing I kind of feel like with Mummy, you can't get much better. Wait time and experience. The wait time, it has honestly not been terrible.
Not like
But I think I've seen it for like 45, 50 minutes mostly.
and that's well worth it.
Yeah, and it's well worth it. So I'm going to give that since, I'm going to give it a 9 because with the experience, it adds up for any wait time you have to wait for. And I'm going mainly for this side of the park, So that is mine.
Theming, I give it a 10.
That's
You
awesome.
walk through that bank and you see all the animatronics. I mean, and
It's
then you
awesome.
go down through the hall and you have the animated newspapers, and then you have one of the little screen things in the elevator. Can't beat it.
Nope.
The thrill, I'm gonna give it a 10. I mean,
that's
I
pretty
think
awesome.
it's one of those rides that, again, we try to ride every time we go. And like I said, we normally do express passes. So with the wait time versus experience,
For us, it's even
me
better.
and, me and my wife went in May, which is really a busy time, and I think maybe the most we waited was an hour. So I'm going to give it probably a 9. I mean, I think it's well worth. If it's a 60 minutes or under, I'd wait.
Oh, yeah. It's a great ride. So 29 for him. What did I give it? 28. All right, so Green Guides gets a 57.
So far,
That is so far the highest ranked ride.
All right, now we have.
Okay, so is that all the rides in studios?
No, we got one
Okay,
more.
got one more ride in studios.
We got one of the most controversial rides in studio. Now, listen, we're not doing like the Born Identity thing, the Born Stuntacular or the
not the shows.
We'll do the shows at another time.
Yeah,
So,
maybe another tournament for
Yeah.
the shows itself.
So this one here is probably the most controversial ride. It's Fast and Furious Supercharged. Again, another motion simulated ride. Screen simulator. The graphics on this ride are horrible.
Terrible.
They're
Terrible.
just terrible.
Yeah, for me, the theming, I mean, the coolest part of the queue line to me is the cars. Yeah,
Now,
the
the cars
are
are
cool.
pretty
So,
sweet.
I'm going to give it a little boost for the cars, and I'm going to go with a
13? Damn.
2. So, to me, the theming
I think
is...
theming wise, I think it's
Because here's why mine goes down to a 2. You get a boost for the cars, and the walkthroughs a little decent, but the ride itself was such a miss on theming. Like, it just didn't really make sense. A party bus? Like, come on. So, I can't. And then the thrill is not that fun. Like, you're literally just sitting on a bus, shaking back and forth, watching a screen around you do silly stuff. So, I'm going to 1. I think it's terrible. And then the wait time versus experience, I don't think it's worth the wait. So, I'm going to go with 2 on it. So, that's mine.
5.
So, that is my take on the ride. That's all I got to say about it. Get rid of it.
All right, I'm gonna go with theming. Mine's gonna be higher because the cars are pretty sweet. They have some hidden Easter eggs of Paul Walker, who passed away.
That is true.
So to me, the theming, they have the outdoor area where when you walk in, it shows like the picnic table where they've had their picnics and stuff as a family. So to me, I'm gonna probably say theming wise, I'm going with a 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Big boost.
thrill ride. I'm going with a 1.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the worst rides in either park.
I mean, they could have done anything. They could have done a Spider-Man style ride. They
roller
could have
coaster.
done a
Indoor roller
like
coaster
Mummy.
would have been awesome.
Yeah, they missed.
mean,
they dropped the ball.
The ride before it, I think it was a disaster.
It was better.
Yeah, I mean,
Terrible theming, and it was better still.
yeah.
So.
I mean, now I will say when I go back to the theme, I also go back to the people in the little shows, the little
That's true.
walkthrough
You
shows,
get it, yeah.
Pat and Jamie. Those are pretty cool.
That is true.
It's like an interactive with the screen. Now, wait time versus the experience, I go with a 1. I mean, it's not a great. I mean, this is another ride in Universal that we pass up. I mean, that's how bad it is.
And we believe it needs to get
Go.
booed.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so a total of 15 for Fast and Furious. So, does that sum up?
I think that sums up Universal.
Okay, So that sums up all the rides there. We have all of their points right here. I'll put those on the screen. What we're going to do with those, we're going to take them and put them into a seating chart. And then at the end of this, when we're done with both parks, they'll be put into the tournament. So let's go on to Islands of Adventure.
All right. First ride we're going to come across, if you turn left, is the Incredible Hulk coaster.
Hulk.
It's a pretty intense coaster. I mean, and it used to be probably one of our favorite coasters.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And I would say, I mean, it's been there for so long.
Oh, so long.
I mean, almost ever since we've went, right?
Oh, yeah.
Probably the whole time. So, theming, I mean, we love Marvel. We love superheroes. And I think that, like, the outside they added the Hulk statue, that's cool. The theming of the ride itself. There's not much to the actual ride other than the kind of launch. And then the queue lines, I mean, it's decent.
Sorry.
So, for theming, I'm going to give it a 6. I mean, probably a little high, honestly, for me. But I think that it's worth it. And then the thrill, I mean, before you had Velocicoaster or any of these other launches that took off, this was the most insane ride you could find at the park. So for thrill for me, I'm going to go with an 8 because I still think it's a great ride. It's gotten a little rough, but it's still great. And I like that you get to go under the little tunnel, get a little bit of a mist, kind of stings your face a little bit. So I think it's cool. Wait time versus experience. The normal wait can get longer, but I don't think it's been terrible.
It hasn't been bad a lot.
So
lately.
you can pretty much get on it pretty easily, and then the experience itself is pretty good. I've blacked out on it a few times because of the launch.
Shelby blacks out every
Yeah, so it's kind of a thrilling ride. So I'm gonna give it an 8 on that as well. I think it's pretty good. All right, Dad.
Now, I'm going to give a theme. I'm going to go back to 6 too. The Hulk outside with the old coaster or the old seat things was cool.
That adds a boost. Cause before
but the walk-in is really not, it's not great. It's got some tubes. It's got stuff shooting.
Some
looks
screens to watch.
Looks like electric shooting through it, and then there's a screen at the end. But it's not the greatest. Thrill ride, it is. I'm going to give it a 7 just because it has gotten rougher over the years.
Yeah.
It used to be one of those coasters that, I mean, like I said, you know, it was smooth, and then it just got to a point where, I mean, it will knock you out completely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Your head is.
Wait time versus experience. Wait time hasn't been bad here lately. I think the longest, me and Sandy might have waited 25 minutes at the most in May. So I'm going to probably give that a 7 also.
Okay. 20.
All right, so that gives it a 20.
Okay, 20 for Dad. And then, what was mine again? 22. So 42 to start us out on Islands of Adventure. I think that's pretty good to start out.
All right, we're going to go to the next ride, which is Storm Force Acceleration, or Acceleratron, or Accelerator, or whatever it is. It's like a spinning teacup kind of ride. You know, you can spin it, you know, as much as you want, or not spin it at all. Another ride that we really don't.
We're kind of skipping now.
Kind of skip it. I mean, it is. I mean, it's one of those two that if you get motion sickness, it will mess you up.
Because it's kind of fast.
Yeah, it's kind of fast.
I'll let you start it.
You let me start it? All right, I'll give it, for theming, it really doesn't have a theme. You just walk in and go to the cup. I mean, it's got the sign, so I'm going to give it a 2. Thrill, 2. And wait time versus experience, since we don't wait at all anymore, I'm just going to give it a 2.
All right, I agree with those. So, honestly, I don't really see the point of going through any of this and changing much. I'm going to give it straight 2s the same. I just feel that, everything you said was spot on with me. I agree. So, it's going to be a 12 total for Storm. I don't think there's much needed more to talk about that one.
All right, next we're going to go to one that I don't even know if we've ever rode or ridden.
Probably not.
Dr. Doom's Fearfall Drop Tower.
Here's why I've never rode this ride before. If you've ever heard of the Kentucky Kingdom Six Flags incident, that's why I won't ride this ride. Didn't we actually know someone that had to go to that situation?
Yes.
Yeah, so, that's why I don't get on.
But he was an inspector.
The ride itself, just knowing, like, I've rode a ride similar to this before, so I'm going to go based off of that a little bit. But other than that, that's all I got. So you go first.
Okay. I think the theming is actually cool. I mean, we have walked over there. It's pretty cool. You know, Dr. Doom. I'm going to give it a 5 on the theming.
Okay.
Thrill. Well, I'm just not into the drop.
Right.
I'm not into the drops like that. I'm going to give it a 2. And then I'm just going to give it. I'm going to have to give it a 1. I can't go 0.
Right.
So
you can't. And we don't know. Okay.
So I'm going to give it an 8.
8 total. All right. For me, the theming, I think it's pretty cool. I'm gonna give it a 2. Thrill. Well, basing off of any other ride similar to that I rode, they're not great. And like I said, with that incident, I'm gonna give it a 3. And then wait time, I'm gonna give it a 1 because I agree. I don't have nothing to go off of, so that's what I got. So 6.
All right, now we get into one of the rides that we love, which is the Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man. Again, another 3D screen ride. It has the same kind of carts or ride vehicles as Transformers. It's got, of course, Spider-Man trying to fight Doc Ock and Scream and Electro and Hydro and them. And, it's pretty cool stuff. It is 3D, so if you get motion sickness, again,
You will on this ride.
You know what I mean? But the theming is pretty cool, so you want
All
me
right,
to go?
I'll let you go first.
For theming, I'm going to go with 7. It has some pretty cool walkthrough stuff. If you're in Express, you don't really get to see that stuff, but it has, if you go through the regular line, it has, like, pictures of, some of the enemies in the dark room. It has computers that are flashing that show that Doc Ock's escaped or whatever it is. So I'm going to give it a 7. Thrill, I'm going to go with a 7. Actually, leave it there. We like this ride. It's, like I said, it's cool. It's got some cool screen effects and stuff. And it has, like when Hydro's up, Spider-Man's fighting Hydro, it'll shoot, you'll get wet. Or it has flames coming from other things. Wait time versus experience. If you're going through Express, I mean, there's no doubt it's a 10. But if you're going through like the regular line, sometimes it can get, especially if it's raining, it can get really long.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to give it probably a 6.
Okay. All right. For me, theming, Spider-Man is my favorite superhero, so I'm going to say probably an 8 on it just because I think it's really cool to walk through and all of that. Now, it could be a little better, I think. Maybe more modernized, but they can't really do anything about that. Thrill, it's on the basis of Transformers, about the same. Really cool. So I'll give it a 7. And then wait time versus experience, he knocked it on that one, so I'm going to go with a 6 as well.
All right.
All right, so 41 for Spider-Man. Okay, what's next?
All right, next is Skull Island Reign of Kong. Now, on here it says 3D motion simulator ride, which it's no longer 3D.
Yep.
And I know this is going to be controversial, but I like it better not in 3D. I just think it's I think my wife likes it better. My daughter likes it better. I don't know Logan. I'll let him explain if he likes it better. Theming wise, if you go through Express, theming sucks. If you go through the regular ride or the regular wait queue, the theming to me is probably one of the best. It has
cool.
some chanting and some stuff. I'm going to give it like an 8. Thrill, with the animatronic at the end, I'm going to give it an 8. The ride screen and stuff, the graphics are 10 times better than Fast and Furious, even with it not being 3D, and it just looks much better.
Oh, yeah.
Wait time versus experience, Kong can get high. So I'm going to leave it at
85, 95.
Yeah, we especially, like I said, some of these indoor rides, when it's raining, it was, it can get really, plus, they've sort of, if it rains, it gets packed. So I'm going to give it a 6.
All right, so 22 for Dad. Theming, I'm going to go with a 7. I think it's pretty good, especially if you're in the normal walkthrough. It's really cool. And then, all the stuff that they have. A mix of good screen and animatronics. Thrill, I agree. I think it is better in 2D, just because the 3D, I don't really love having to have the glasses on to, see things.
They hurt my head.
Yeah, they just get annoying. So being able to not have to deal with that, and you don't really miss much out of that, honestly, for this ride. You don't feel much different. You still get the effects of it. So I'll leave it at a 7. And then the wait time for his experience, I'm going to give it a 5, and I think that the animatronic at the end, to me, really bumps it up. So I think it's a good ride. So a 19 for me on Kong, and a 22, 41. Okay, 41 for Kong. What's next?
Well, like I said, these are not in any order because we
not in
skipped the
order of
whole
the park.
section.
Yeah.
The next one would be Jurassic Park River Adventure, which is a water ride. You're in a in a raft kind of boat, and it takes you in through a little scenery, like sort of how the Jurassic Park movie goes, and then you get into a situation where it's warning kind of thing. So theming wise, the walk up is not the greatest. It's just you walk in and
Yeah, it's true. You're just in a little hut.
yeah, it's a little hut. So I'm gonna give it a 5. Thrill, I like this ride. You will get wet.
Oh yeah.
And then the thrill inside is pretty cool. So I'm gonna give it a 7. And the wait time versus experience, usually it's not too bad. I'm gonna go a 7.
Okay. All right. So a 19 for Dad. For me, theming, I agree. The walkthrough is bland. The ride itself, the theming is pretty cool. You get to go through the big gates. So I give it a 6. The thrill, honestly, my favorite part of the ride isn't even the drop. So I'm gonna go a 6 as well on that because I think that it's a good ride. It's a really good ride. You get wet. So 6 for me. And then the wait time versus experience. The wait can get kind of long, but the experience is pretty good. So I'm going to leave it at a 5, actually. All right, so 36 for Jurassic River Adventure. Okay, where are we at now?
Pterodon Flyers.
All right, so the Flyers.
All right. Well, first off, this is a kiddie ride.
And you can only ride it.
Only ride it if you have a kid. So that's the only time an adult can ride it is if you have a kid. The theme is nothing, so I'm gonna give it a 1.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a walk up with plants.
Yeah.
Thrill, it is pretty cool. If you're on it with a kid, I'm gonna leave it at 7 because
Okay.
you're flying over
Yeah,
top of the park.
you get a fly.
Wait time versus experience is a 1 because usually when it's open, right now it's closed down, it's a long wait. So
Yep. Okay, so 9 for him. For me, theming, yeah, I'm going with a 1. Nothing to it. Thrill, I'm going to leave it at 6 because I think it's pretty good. If you have a kid, it's really good. And then, didn't you say you get to ride it if you go to like a meetup or something?
yeah, we went to the Inform meetup. Me and Patrick and your mom and Shelby got to ride it.
Wait time experience, I'm going to go with a 3. That's mine. That's my take on. I have nothing else to say, really. All right, so a 19 total for the Flyers. So we are moving on to the next ride, which is...
We're gonna go with Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey.
All right, so Forbidden Journey.
Now this is the castle in that part of the park, which theming wise, it's a 10 easy.
Yeah.
You walk through the castle. It has the talking pictures like you see in the movies. Theming wise, there's nothing.
Yeah, you couldn't have done better for a Harry Potter.
Thrill ride. I mean, when I rode it, it was probably like a 5. It's a motion screen again. It does have a different kind of ride apparatus. I don't like the ride itself because it's sort of. I mean, if you're claustrophobic, it's really bad because you're in a box. You're pretty much in a box.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And if you get stuck on it, it's anywhere between 20 minutes to an hour. Then I'm not all into that. Wait time versus experience. I'll go by what. I mean, Sandy and Shelby like it, so I'm going to give it a 6 there.
Okay. All right. And then for me, yeah, theming, you couldn't get much better. So I'm going to go with a 10.
They really, theming wise, Harry Potter.
They knocked it out of the park.
There's not a whole lot you can really say about that.
Thrill, I like it, but after you do it a few times, to me, it's okay to go back. It's just, I mean, if you got time, I'm going to hit it, but if we're not, I'd rather go do like Velocicoaster or something. So, Thrill, to me, I'm going to give it a 7. I do like it. And then the wait time versus experience. The wait time can get pretty long. The experience is pretty decent, so I'm going to give it a 4. So that's my take on it. 21 for me. So a 42 overall.
All right, our next one is Flight of the Hippogriff, which is it's a mid-size
tweener.
Yeah, it's like a tweener roller coaster. Kids, it's more for like your probably 4 to 7 or 8 year old kids, maybe a little older. But we ride it. I mean, we ride it every time we go. The theming, there's no theming. I mean,
really.
you got one hippogriff on the ride.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's a 2.
Yeah.
Thrills, probably, like I said, it's not really, you got one good sized drop and it's just fast after that. I'm going to go with a 4. And wait time here lately has gotten out of hand.
Yeah, it's gotten pretty long.
I'm gonna say a 2.
Yeah, it's gotten.
I mean, the last time I think we went, there was a 90-minute wait for that ride.
All right, so an 8 for Dad on that one. Theming, yeah, no theming, so I'm putting a 2. Thrill is all right. The drive's pretty decent for a tweener roller coaster, so I'll give it a 3. And wait time for experience, a 2. So 15 for the Hippogriff. So let's move on.
All right, next, probably one of our favorites is Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. This is a roller coaster. It is a family roller coaster, meaning there are no upside down loops. There's no, there's nothing upside down. I mean, it is fast, but it's, I mean, if you got a kid that's the size to ride it, I mean, they can ride,
Oh, yeah.
Are we ready for this one?
Yep.
All right, theming. You pretty much go into another little area where it's got Hagrid's hut and stuff, and then you go down into the actual ride itself, and it has it used to have a screen show with Hagrid and I think maybe Arthur Weasley. I can't remember about the motorcycles, but the theming is probably not as good as some of the other rides that they've done.
And Harry Potter, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
so I'm probably gonna give it a 6.
Okay.
Thrill, I'm just gonna tell you right now, 9, easy.
Oh, yeah.
Easy 9. And then wait time versus experience, there's no express passes, so we have to wait, and the wait time is ridiculous.
Awful.
So wait time wise, I'm giving it a. If it's 60 minutes or under, I'll get in line and wait.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm not waiting for anything over 60 minutes, so I'm gonna probably give it a 4.
I agree with those. Okay, so 19 for you. 3. The theme, yeah, I'm gonna give it more so based off the ride because, like you said, there's not much of a queue there. So the ride itself, I think it's pretty good. So I'm gonna give it a 4. Thrill, I'm gonna give it a 10. I think it's one of the best thrill rides in the whole park. And then wait time versus experience, I'm gonna give it a 3 just because that's kind of it's tough to wait in. There's nothing to really look at.
No.
Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna give it right there, 17. All right, so 17 and a 19. All right, so 36 for Hagrid's. Let's move on. What's next?
All right, next we're gonna pass all that.
Right here.
And we're gonna
Here,
go
I tell you
straight
what,
to.
let's throw in.
Oh, are we gonna do
Let's
the?
do the Velocicoaster.
Oh yeah, we gotta do Velocicoaster because it's actually in the. It's not on our thing here, is it?
Nope.
Okay, let's do Velocicoaster. Okay, this is a high-speed roller coaster. Love this roller coaster. In my opinion, it's probably one of the best in either park. Probably one of the best in Orlando. Period.
Yep.
I'm gonna probably give the theming. It's got the big statue of the dinosaurs, and it's got the raptors, and of course
The
inside
animatronics.
it's got the animatronic. I'm gonna give it a 9.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
good.
pretty sweet. And then of course you get into the queue line, and it's you got the Claire and Owen going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Thrill ride, I'm going 10.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unreal. I mean, it's front and the back. If you get in the front seat or you get in the back seats, best parts of the ride.
Yep.
Wait time versus experience. Wait times have not been that bad here lately. I'm gonna give it a 9.
Okay. All right, so 28 for Dad, and then for me, theming. You got the animatronics. You got, like he said, the sculpture. So I'm gonna take away a little bit because once you get past that, you got to watch the screen replay over and over. So I'm gonna give it a 7 for. Actually, you know what? I'll give it an 8 because once you get on the ride too, you get all the like the raptors running past you.
If you can see it.
Yeah, if you can see it. So yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8. Thrill 10, leaving it there. It's the best ride in my opinion. And then wait time versus experience. Like I said, it's not been too bad, so a 9. I'll give it that as well. So
It's worth the wait.
what's it, 27?
Yes.
So a 27 and a 28 puts that. All right, so a 55 overall for Velocicoaster.
Wow, it's way higher than any of the others
It's
so far.
it's up there.
All right. Next, we got Cat in the Hat.
All right.
It's just a little ride through the house of the kids that from Cat in the Hat. It's a great place to get air conditioner. Theming, there's really no theming there, so I'm gonna give
Yeah.
it 2.
Just a big head.
There's no really thrill. If you're a kid, it's really fun, but so to me, I'm going to grade it by as in fun.
Yeah,
so I'm going to give it a 6. And wait time and experience, there's really never a wait.
No.
And experience, I'm going to give it a 6.
Okay, 14 for Dad. For me, I think the theming, taking into account the ride and the walkthrough, I'll give it a 3. I just don't think it's amazing. Thrill, honestly don't find it very fun. I mean, it's great to get out of the heat. It's got a little bit of spins in it, so I'm going to give it a 4. And then wait time versus experience, it never really has a wait, so, and it's AC in there, so I'm going to leave it at actually I'm going to go with a 7. So that's going to be mine. So a 14 for me. So 14. So we have a 28. 28 for Cat in the Hat.
All right, now we have 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish, which is another kiddie ride, sort of like the Kang and Kudos Twirl and Hurl. Theming, there's no theming, so we'll leave it at, I'm going to put it at a 1.
Okay.
The thrill, I mean, again, I'm going by fun because it's not really, I'm just going to say it's more of a 4.
Okay.
You do get wet, so that helps a little bit.
It does help.
Wait time experience, really no wait experience. I'm going to go 4.
Okay. All right. So I'm going 9 for Dad. Mine's probably going to be a little more harsh. I think the theming, there's no theming, so it's a 1. A thrill, I don't really find it that fun. The water does add some, so I'll give it a 3. Wait time for experience, there's not really a wait time, but the experience isn't amazing, so I'm going to give it a 2. Total of 6 for me. And what did I say for you?
15 total.
15 for 1 fish, 2 fish. Let's move on.
All right, now we're doing Carousel. It's a carousel ride. It's themed with, of course, Cat in the Hat. Kids love it. Theming, there's no theming, so I'm just going to stick it at a 1.
Yep.
The thrill, it's a carousel. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm going to go with 2. Wait time versus experience, there's no wait. The experience is not, it's nothing perfect. Like I said, you're getting out of the sun because you're underneath a awning
Shaded
kind of thing
awning,
there.
yeah.
So I'm going to give it a 2.
All right. So quick 5 for Dad. And me, I'm going to give it theming a 1. It's not amazing. The ride thrill itself, I'm giving it a 1. I don't like that at all. I only do it because I have kids. And the wait time for experience, you got to give it a little bit because there's no wait time, so a 3. So it works out. We both give a 5 for a 10 for Carousel.
All right. Now we're going back around past Marvel's Island there.
Ours is a little all over the place.
Yeah, we're sort of all over the place. So now we're going to do Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls. Now this is a flume ride. It's a water ride with some drops. You will get soaking wet. So ponchos or whatever, you're still going to get wet.
Yeah, you definitely get wet. No escaping.
No escaping. Theming, I'm going to give it a 5. I mean, it's not horrible.
Could be rethemed to be something.
Thrill wise, I'm giving it a 7. I like that ride.
Awesome.
The drop is amazing.
Yes.
Then when you hit the drop, you come down and then people can splash you from the
From the bridge.
Wait time versus experience. I'm gonna give it a 5.
Okay.
I mean, usually the wait time can get up, especially when it's really hot. But I think that's a pretty fair score.
Okay, so 17 for Ripsaw for Dad. Theming, I don't think the theming is great, so I'm going to actually give it a 3. The thrill, to me, is one of my favorite rides, so I'm giving it a 9. I love it. Wait time for experience is usually never that bad, so I'm going to give it an 8. So I'm going a little higher because I like that ride a lot. What is it?
20.
All right, so a 20 for me, 17, so a 37. All right, moving on.
All right, now it's Popeye and Bluto's Bilge Rat Barges. This is a cool ride. It's it's river raft like kind of thing. You're in a little whatever it's called.
Raft.
Yeah.
What's it? What?
Bilge is
How many
what that's-
people sit in it? Do you know? It's
like a raft kind of thing. It's like 8 to 10 people. It's like a river ride. It's got rapids and all kind of stuff, and you get soaking wet.
Yep.
Soaking wet. For me, this is probably my favorite water ride inside of the place, which, there's only, 3.
Yeah.
But, it's just if I
It's
want to
good.
get wet and you want to stay cool, this is the one.
It's good.
Because, River Adventure, Jurassic Park River, you don't get that wet.
No, you don't.
Unless
Ripsaw,
you're
you
in
get
the
pretty
front,
wet.
maybe,
Jurassic,
but-
you don't really get that wet. You get a
So
mist.
theming's not great. So I mean, there's really no
alright.
theme. So I'm gonna give it a 4.
Okay.
Thrill, I'm giving it a 9. I love
it's
this
great.
ride. It's like I said, you get soaking wet. Wait time versus experience. Usually not much of a wait time.
No,
I'm
not
gonna give it a
recently.
9.
Okay. I know when it first started going, it was pretty good.
Pretty, yeah.
But not anymore. For me, the theming, yeah, not great. I'm going with a 3. Okay. So Thrill, I don't like it as much as Ripsaw, but it's still really good. So I'm gonna give it a 7. And then wait time for experience, there's not much of a wait time. The experience is awesome, so I'll leave it at an 8 right there. So an 18 and a 22. All right, so a 44 Popeyes.
All right. Now, let me see if we've missed anything. All right, let's go. We forgot
The last one.
The last one we forgot about. Now we're not counting the train that runs between Universal and Islands of Adventure. I'm not counting that as a ride.
As a
even though-
ride, yeah.
Even though it has
It has stuff to it. theming.
stuff to it, it does have a pretty cool theme. But to me, that's more of a way
It's
to
like a
get
transport,
back and forth.
back and forth.
So we're not counting that one. I mean, if we was counting that one, total score wise, I'd probably give it probably 15, 16. 'Cause,
Yeah.
it's not really that long, and it's But the next one is the what is the High in the Sky?
High in the Sky trolley train.
High in the Sky trolley. Another kiddie ride, sort of like just a little ride through. It goes through one of the restaurants and around the park and over the water. It has 2 tracks. Each track's a different way to go. Theming wise, none really. So I'm gonna give it a 2. Thrill, it's really not a thrill. It's more fun for the kids. So I'm gonna give it a 4. And wait time versus experience, never really any wait. So I'm gonna give it a 5.
Okay. For me, the theming, yeah, there's not much of a theming, so I'm gonna go with 2. Thrill, I mean, you do get to kind of just chill for a little bit, ride over everything. So thrill, I mean, there's not much thrill if you're going for thrills. If it's just more chill, so I'm gonna actually give it a 1. If you're going for thrill itself, it's not the one to go for. But it is nice to ride. It's a good chill ride. And then wait time experience, there's no wait time. The experience is okay, so we'll give it a 4.
7.
7 for me, 11, so we got an 18 for Trolley Train. Okay, so for the ratings, we got them all put in. That's going to be the end of this video. Stay tuned for our next part of the video, which is going to be putting them into their seatings and then placing them into the tournament bracket so we can see which ride at Universal Orlando comes out on top
Now-
as the best ride.
Just for your information, we're not taking the 2 parks and separating. So if Universal Studios side has a lower rated ride, it could go up against an Islands of Adventure ride.
Yep, because we're going for the best overall
ride
of
So,
Universal. All right, so thank you for watching. Please hit the like button and hit that subscribe button so you can stay tuned for our next video. Make sure you hit that notification bell so when we post this video to the second part, it's going to pop up for you so you can see.
You'll want to watch it.
You'll definitely want to watch it. So thank you for watching. Peace.